Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom, and welcome to another episode of the Just Seeing Podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about the burnout. This is going to be an extension of, of course, an EntrepreNEGUS series. I don't even know which number we're in by now, probably 8 or something like that. But I wanted to talk about the burnout because that's the side of the entrepreneurship that I hear a lot of people not talk about, especially not new people. I mainly hear it from the older people, like the older gurus and shit. They be like, make sure you rest. You feel me? Don't push yourself too much because they're speaking from an older experience. But a lot of younger entrepreneurs and shit, they're on some grind, hustle, grind, hustle. You listening to the music that hypes you up, that says, yo, grind, hustle. So that's all you do is grind, and hustle, and it becomes a detriment, And this is not just, saying like it happens to other people. Like this shit happens to me. It happens to me quite frequently because it's, still mindsets that I got to break to become a successful entrepreneur that I used to embody as somebody trying to make it out, somebody trying to get out of poverty, somebody trying to quote unquote get out of the hood. And you know what I mean? When that's your drive, you feel me, that keeps you hustling, it keeps you grinding. And if you fuck around and learn from people who are always in a state of survival, they can push you to go beyond your limits. Now I know I'm one to say that, limits, sky is the limit. There are no limitations. You don't put limitations on yourself. But at the same token, I'm not going to say that we don't have limitations as people, but we have the capacity to break through our limitations. That's what I want to rephrase that as and start saying that, because I'm looking at it like a lot of times that mentality is what leads to us burning out real quick. And some of us burn out more than others. You feel me? Personally, within my first 2 years, I burned out 12 times. 12. That's literally a burnout. If you put it in numbers perspective and you average that shit out, that's literally a burnout every 2 months. In the 2 years time frame, I had 12 burnouts. You feel me? And these are the things I don't talk about, I haven't talked about, because it's taboo. You feel me? You don't want to put that on somebody else and feel like, hey, yo, you might not be able to do this. You might not be built for this. You might, you might need to tone it down a little bit or whatever the case may be. Some people may take it as, you're doubting them, or you're saying that it's not that, bro. I'm speaking from experience, cause like the burnout is fucking real. And because the burnout is real, I kind of want to, talk about it as far as the EntrepreNEGUS series, because it's one thing to just get in the game. Say, oh, I'm a play coach. Nah, bro, you need to pace this time. You need breaks. Even if you the franchise player, you still need your breaks. You still need your moments. You still need your time to heal. You need your time to rest. Rest is just as important as the trainer. Shit, word of Dragon Ball Z, my guy. But yeah, I'm not gonna waste too much time in this intro. I'm just now getting back into the swing of things and shit. Had that week off. Burnout. You feel me? I've learned not to avoid them. When I feel them coming on, when I feel myself getting overwhelmed, I disappear. You feel me? I disappear. Nothing be wrong with me, but I just disappear from everything. So that's what I want to talk about today, the burnout, because there's also ugly sides to entrepreneurship. And if we only prepare for the good shit, we don't know how to anticipate and maneuver and bounce back through the bad shit. Burnout is one of the bad things. You feel me? Of course, there'll be other aspects in the series that I talk about, but the burnout is what I want to talk about the most right now, because I've been on a string of, get your advertising, get your marketing, get these things, blah, 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 hustle, in a sense. I don't want you to take that away from my entrepreneurship. Don't take that I'm a hustler. Don't take that I'm always going to go get it and always going to get it, because I stopped doing that shit. But I felt it works and it emerges just on time for me to tell y'all the same shit and give you a lot of the background on this side of life. You feel what I'm saying? This side of entrepreneurship. But before we dive heavy into that, be sure to follow me on Instagram at _just_scene_ Be sure to check out my website at IamJustSeen.com to get all things that are just seen. To everyone who tips, sponsors, and donates to the podcast, you are greatly appreciated. I thank you so much. If you would like to tip, donate, and sponsor, you can do so by clicking the description of your podcast and sponsoring the channel or the episode or the page, whatever. Cash App and PayPal also work just fine. What else? Yeah, that's about it. So, because I was going to say everything else I need to say. So, with that, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to hop into EntrepreNEGUS, whatever number I'm on, the Burnout. So, it's going to be EntrepreNEGUS, insert the number, the Burnout. Oh, yeah, and don't forget to visit IamJustSeen.com. There, you can get all things Just Seen. You want to add the Soul series to your library? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You want to learn how to master the market for serious trading and investing? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You want to get your hands on some exclusive merch like tees, hoodies, coffee mugs, hats, bags? Visit IamJustSeen.com. Are you thinking about transitioning into the plant-based lifestyle? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You ever want to just chat with Seen about anything from simple advice to mentorship? Visit IamJustSeen.com. Anything and everything that is me, you can find at IamJustSeen.com. So just take a quick peek into my world and see why being just seen is nothing less but always more. Because you never really know what you need until you see it. You will never see it unless you visit IamJustSeen.com. All right. Welcome back. Without further ado, we're going to go ahead and hop into this motherfucker tonight, today, whatever time it is in which you listen to this. You feel me? I think the biggest part of the grind, that really biggest part of entrepreneurship as a whole that fucks people up is the grind and the hustle. The grind and the hustle, especially for Black entrepreneurs. You feel what I'm saying? Because imagine, a lot of us still harbor that mentality, whether we know it subconsciously or not, or consciously, or, it's wired to our unconscious mind and we just act. We hold on to the narrative that you have to work twice as hard to get half as much. I'm going to say that again. You have to work twice as hard to get half as much. The reason why I had to say that again is because no matter what it is that we're doing in life as melanated beings, we already have an obstacle we got to fight through from the jump. You feel me? We already had that obstacle we have to fight through from the jump. We have to get through that shit. We have to work twice as hard to get half as much. So we think doing twice as much work is efficient. We think going above and beyond is efficient. We don't really take the time to build and process. We like, damn, let me go in. And this has just been a mentality that's just been on us for damn near forever. You feel me? It feels like, because it just keeps getting passed down to generation to generation. And that kind of makes the grind and the hustle, that fuels the grind and the hustle a lot more. Because it's like, damn, I got to go get it. But the grind and the hustle are just that. It's the grind and the hustle. That's not entrepreneurship. Now, don't get me wrong. All entrepreneurs are hustlers and grinders, right? But all grinders and hustlers ain't entrepreneurs. It's almost like the square and the rectangle type shit. All squares are rectangles, but all rectangles ain't squares. You feel me? There's certain shit that qualifies it. You feel what I'm saying? So, the grind and the hustle was how I burnt out 12 times in my first 2 years. Feel me? Because I ain't do none of this shit part-time. I ain't built none of my entrepreneurship part-time. Everything was full-time with my full-time job. You dig what I'm saying? I tell the story about having 4 hours of sleep. The good thing about it that came out of that shit was that in order for me to stay up, I ain't want to do drugs. You feel me? I ain't want to over-caffeinate or stay on energy drinks. So ultimately what it led me to was creating an herbal multivitamin. You feel what I'm saying? And that shit kept me going for like 2 years, year and a half. I really stopped pushing so hard. But like the first year and a half, almost 2 years, it was, I needed to stay up. I was running off 4 hours of sleep, working triples at work, doubles, you feel me? Sleeping in cars, like not on the homeless side, but I was sleeping in cars on the strip that I was working in valet and shit, right? So if my manager be like, yo, I need you to work a double for me, I'm like, I got you, B. I got you. I'll work that shit when the shit died down. You feel me? And I know my other teammate, like, so the overnight shift, let's say if I'm working an overnight shift, right? Usually everybody sleep by 2, 3 o'clock. Nobody needs their car. So what I'll do is I'll go downstairs till 5. And I'll sleep in somebody's car, bro. I get into one of the most comfortable motherfuckers and sleep like a motherfucker in that back seat. But I keep my walkie-talkie on me just in case, and I keep it extra loud just in case somebody buzz. You feel me? And the office to where I had to park cars was right there. So if anybody came up, I could hear them knocking on the door. So if anybody came up and shit, I could, snap up like, yeah, I was doing car inventory, making sure everything was good, So shit like that, it kind of really, it told me the difference between the grind and the hustle. But in that mindset, I was just hustling. I was just grinding. I would just grind it like a motherfucker. And it burnt me out 12 fucking times. Some of the burnouts were back to back. That's why I broke it down like that and said, it was basically a burnout every 2 months. Think about that. Think about what that does to your mind. Think about what a burnout does to a person's mind. Like, you feel what I'm saying? Let's just keep it on a physical level. If you're an athlete, you work out, or whatever the case may be. Most motherfuckers who are training their body, they push to muscle failure. Why you push to muscle failure? Because you can get the absolute most out of your body. You feel what I'm saying? Until it's no more. And then, it sets the tone for the next level and shit. You feel me? You can accelerate a lot faster. But what does that do to your body? You feel what I'm saying? Motherfuckers always be sore. You feel me? Your muscles are always tense and tight. They never get a chance to be flexible and fluid because they're always in a state of tension. You feel what I'm saying? So you stay toned, you stay, swole. Right? Your body's always sore. They give you other supplements and things like that to get rid of the lactic acid and shit like that and recovery and all of that shit. They have to make certain things because your body's not naturally supposed to be in a state of fatigue all the time. And you still being able to push through, right? So what do you think that does to the mind? Imagine when the mind gets sore. It's not the same. See, when the mind gets sore, which is the burnout or the muscle failure, and it's the actual failure, you know what I'm saying? But when the mind gets burnt out, what's the sign? You feel me? What's the sign to tell you that you're getting your body sore? Your mind is sore. Your mind is in a position that it needs to rest. When does your body get to that point? When does your mind get to that point? When are you able to notice it? You dig what I'm saying? It's rare. It's rare because if you also built into a hustler's mentality, there is no tired. There is no tired. Fuck being tired. You feel me? I grew up listening to the hustlers, affirmations and music talking about shit like, yo, I could run the streets all day. I can sleep when I die. You feel me? I'm out here grinding. I ain't slept in 8 weeks. I can go for 8 days. Ain't nothing to me. Yeah, that shit sounds good. That shit sounds good. You feel me? Like, I don't sleep, bro. I just stay in the studio. I just keep going back. You know what I'm saying? But it takes its toll on you mentally in the entrepreneur realm. When you start to accept this reality for yourself that, hey, I can hustle. I can hustle. Like they say the youth is the youth is wasted on the young. I don't think that's the case. I think what's wasted on the young is experience because you don't have it. You feel me? I ain't gonna say it's wasted on the young if you don't have it, but experience is what the young don't have. You dig what I'm saying? That's the only separation. You feel me? And the young don't gain the experience ahead of time. Because the older generation I don't know why they do this, but they choose to keep that experience from you and make you learn it yourself. as opposed to say, yo, bro, cut these corners, man. Don't do what I did. You know, Hov did that, so hopefully you won't have to go through that. You feel me? But that's the grind and hustle. That's the mentality a lot of us have in this shit. Especially when we first started off, like, yo, I could do this, I could do that. Not realizing how much you have to learn. As an entrepreneur, you're damn near a genius. You have to tap into your genius at all times. You feel what I'm saying? You have to tap into your genius at all times because you're having to think about ways. How do I overcome this obstacle? How do I overcome this hurdle? How do I do this? How do I do that? Those are things you don't necessarily have to do at a 9-to-5. Those are things you don't necessarily have to do in a structured environment. So it's easy to hustle in those. It's easy to hustle through routine or appear like I'm hustling through routine. I'm just a creature of habit. This is easy. I don't have to think too much about this shit. But entrepreneurship comes a mental component to it too. And it's the burnout. The hustlers I grew up around, they just sold drugs. You feel what I'm saying? They just sold drugs. So it was easy. You cook it, weigh it, bag it, sell it. It's simple. Once you learn how to cook it, once you learn how to flip it, once you know how to get the best price, how to get the connects and all that shit, once you get that shit underway, there's not much thought process in between. But as an entrepreneur, it's like, damn, all right, here's this middleman. I need to take him out because I'm paying him too much. Let me learn how to do his job. Bam, bam, bam. And you start to put your hands to so many different things. You know, burnout, and then it leads to the burnout. Like, there's a phrase, you know, my mama used to tell me. She used to say, don't be a jack of all trades just to be a master of nothing. I was like, damn. And I think the burnout is what separates the experiencing of the burnout is what eventually separates the jack of all trades to the master. The jack to the master, whatever the case may be, because it's in the burnout when you take a step back and you reset and you recalibrate. Like, oh shit, I didn't add this little piece because I was so busy learning new information. You feel me? I forgot about the fundamentals. I forgot about the basic shit. I forgot about, you know, take the fundamentals and enhance them as opposed to just using the enhancements. Nah, you still got to use the fundamentals. You feel me? Tim Duncan got 5 rings because the Spurs use fucking fundamentals. You feel me? Now, don't get me wrong, he's still a good basketball player, but at the same time, Spurs basketball was never exciting basketball. You didn't watch the Spurs play just to say, yo, who the fuck gonna get banged on tonight? Or who gonna get the ankles broke, get crossed up and shit? Who gonna do? Like, nah, you watch Spurs basketball to see who's gonna win, who's gonna play basketball. Yo, these niggas swung that motherfucker 5 times and then shot. Confuse the fuck out of the defense. You feel what I'm saying? Basketball, the basics. You feel what I'm saying? And that's in essence what has to be carried over into this side as well. And I think that prevents the burnout. That prevents your burnout, and that gives you the longevity that you're looking for. You dig what I'm saying? But we gotta shift out of the mindset of it's a hustle. It's a hustle. Even hustles have negative connotations to them. Hustles ain't no work. It's just how you can get over on a motherfucker at the end of the day. I could beat you over the head for whatever it is that you have that I need. But the entrepreneur is different. It's how I can create a business transaction between you and this other person. You feel me? One of the biggest things I used to always talk about was, you feel me? If I'm going to put in this much time to work for somebody else, I have to do it for myself. And I think that set the tone. That kind of set the tone for the first couple burnouts I would have. Because I would be putting in, like, I'm like, yo, bro, you just did 12 hours. You just did 16 hours for this motherfucker. And you ain't even put in that much time for yourself. So I would at least dedicate 8 hours to myself or try to. You feel me? I'm like, yo, I gave them a whole shift of my life. I need to give myself a whole shift. And that just wasn't idealistic. You feel me? Because like I said, none of the shit that I was doing was part-time. I wasn't part-time in none of this shit. You feel me? Because it would have took me too long. I felt, I'm going to get into that a little later, but I felt it would have took me too long. You feel what I'm saying? So I hustled. I grinded. And in that hustle and in that grind, I learned a very, very important distinction between two very, very important words in the entrepreneur realm, and that is busy and productive. My first 12 burnouts were because I was busy, not because I was productive. I'll admit that. Now, granted, I was reaping rewards. I was getting the fruits of my labor. However, the ends didn't justify the means because I was busy. I wasn't productive. You feel what I'm saying? Yes, I wrote things down. Yes, I had schedules. But again, I was still busy and not productive. You dig what I'm saying? I wasn't productive in a lot of the shit that I was doing. Yeah, I produced results. But when I look at how quickly I could have produced it if I would have did. One of the greatest quotes that I've ever heard, you feel me? They say it came from Abraham Lincoln. They steal so much, I don't fucking know. But at the end of the day, the quote was, if you have 3 hours to chop down a tree, what are you going to do first? And the motherfucker said, I responded with, I would spend the first 2 hours sharpening my axe. You feel me? This is why the burnout happens. A lot of us don't sharpen our axe, and we don't know how sharp our axe needs to be before we cut the tree down. I didn't. The beginning people that I knew that had to get, they didn't know how to sharpen their axes. They just knew, bitch, I got an axe and I got to get this tree down. You feel me? And so you spend the first 2 hours chopping the motherfucker, then it hits you. Yo, if this motherfucking blade was sharper, then it's like, damn, what if I would sharpen the blade first? Then that starts to fuck with you. But then it's like, now I'm already an hour in, just keep swinging with the dull axe until the tree is down. You feel me? That's the difference between being productive and being busy. Being productive is the same thing as being busy, except there's intention. There's intention behind it. Busyness is about achieving a goal. You feel me? Productivity is about creating an intention, bringing an intention into reality. Here's what I mean by that. Goals, they're fleeting. They're changing. You feel what I'm saying? I use this example because, it's easier to use my own examples. I was busy as hell selling books at first. I was busy as fuck. I was on my social media every single day. I was, hey, get this, that. People were buying it at first. People were buying it. And then it's like, yo, people can only buy one book. Now what? What's the next part? So I was like, okay, cool. Expand my following. It was more about hustling. It was more about grinding. It was never about producing. You feel me? It was never about producing. So I was like, okay, cool. Increase your social media following. Okay, well, that means now I got to go follow people, interact with their shit, start staying in this sport. But I had to become more active on social media in order to do that, because I was like, yo, if I could sell these books. And then it was like advertising, of course, came up, and this was before it became what it was. You feel me? Advertising is mandatory now pretty much on social media, but at the time it was optional. So I would boost a post or whatever the case may be, but I didn't know shit about advertising. I didn't know shit about the social media ads. You feel me? I never sharpened my axe. So I was just swinging. You feel me? Let me boost it to these motherfuckers. They got some sales, and I said, okay, I know what I'm doing. No, I did something. That doesn't necessarily mean I knew what I was doing. I did something that worked. You dig what I'm saying? And a lot of times in this entrepreneur side, doing things that work, often we try to translate that as doing it right. Just because something worked doesn't mean you did it right. It means it worked. You dig what I'm saying? So imagine if you do something right one time, you do something right twice, then you think this is the way it's supposed to be done. That's not necessarily the case. Same thing with trading. You feel me? When I actually had to learn it, I had to learn that, you feel me? These are just things that I got right. Doesn't necessarily mean I knew what I'm doing, because it wasn't until the dark side hit that it's like, bro, like, the fuck? I had to go into the archives to actually sharpen my axe. You dig what I'm saying? So when it comes to that separation between being busy and productive, it was like, how do I do it? Because like I said, I was grinding. I was working full time. You feel me? I was doing my other entrepreneur things to fund my shit. Like I was Ubering and, you feel me, writing books and doing all these things. But where was the sharpening of my axe? There was never that point. And because I was never sharpening my axe, I burnt out 12 times in 2 years. And another point to the burnouts was that let yourself fully charge up before you come back into it. You dig what I'm saying? Let yourself fully charge up before you come back into it. Those are things I didn't do. And, you know, as they say, it's a funny quote. Well, it's not a funny quote. It's a very real quote, but the application in which it applies to my life is very funny to me because, you know, the quote is, as above, so below, as within, so without. You feel what I'm saying? My cell phone never stayed charged. It still doesn't. Like, you feel me? On average, I say my phone reaches 100% like once every 3 to 4 weeks, maybe. It reaches 100%. But on average, I'm working on my phone for about 30 to 40% of juice. It's that bitch stay under 15%. I ain't even gonna hold you, bro. Like once it hit 15%, I still stay on until about 3%. And then I'll charge it back up. Once it gets about 30, 40, I know I can get back to work and do the shit that I need to do. But for the most part, it's like I never really charge my phone up. And I'm saying as above, so below, as within, so without, because I applied that shit. Oh, bro, I got some juice. I got about 30% after my burnouts. That's why it was happening so frequently, because I was like, yo, I got about 30%. I take a break. Like, my thing was this. It'll be like, you feel me? I'll rest on my days off. Or, you know, this particular, like, I have a mandatory day off. My supervisor don't want me to come in. I'm not on call. But even then, I always kept my phone just in case he did call me. You feel me? And then I was always still doing something. I never really took a break to do nothing. You feel me? And that was what was recharging me. So it'll be like, let's say in 2 months, let's go back to the 2 months. 2 months, let's say I had a burnout. You feel me? And then the reason why I would have another one in 2 months, because I would only take like 2 days off for the next 28 days, 28, 29 days. You feel me? The burnout stayed there. You feel me? The burnout stayed there because I was excessively busy. I wasn't productive. You feel me? I didn't know how to truly structure my shit yet. You feel me? Those are things that you learn in the beginning phases of entrepreneurship. But it's harder. It's real hard to sharpen your axe when you don't know the things to sharpen it the best. So each level, and then it's like, entrepreneur-wise, you're trying to find the most inexpensive shit to get you the reward. You feel what I'm saying? The most inexpensive shit to get you the reward, because it's like, yo, I ain't got shit, so I'm hustling. Yo, everything got to be free. It comes a point where you got to level up. You got to level up. When you keep taking on free shit, even if you got the money, when you start taking on extra free shit, you just keep going, you're going to have to find other things to make that free shit work. You dig what I'm saying? You're going to have to find other things to make that free shit work, or you're going to have to pay for the level in which you're trying to pay for. You feel me? So that right there taught me the lesson of how to be productive versus how to be busy. You feel me? Because it's like when I'm talking to grinders, when I'm talking to the hustlers and the grinders, that's motivation. It's like, damn, bro, yo, you stay on it. You this like that. And it gives you that little morale boost to say you have to keep going. But then when you start talking to successful entrepreneurs, you're like, yo, you're doing way too much, yo. You need to learn how to outsource or consolidate or do this particular thing. Like, stop doing so much. Like, you feel me? Then that kind of defeats you. So which way do you go? Do you go back to the people who support you being busy? Or do you go back, or do you continue to fuck with the people who fuck with you being productive? And it's like, it's hard to dictate, because you have to operate on your momentum. My momentum is in motion when I'm busy. I feel that I used to feel that my momentum slowed down when I was, my momentum slowed down when I was being productive. Because I don't have the time to sit and learn this shit, master this shit. It's like, cool, don't pay for somebody to do it. You feel me? Or, you know what I mean? Like, and while you learn the skill or whatever the case may be, but don't just be out here doing shit. You feel me? That's busy. So in taking that and understanding that, I read two important books that kind of revolutionized my entrepreneur game. And that was The Millionaire Fast Lane and The One Thing. I read The One Thing, well, 3 books, The Power of Habit too, but the 2 in particular were The Millionaire Fast Lane and The One Thing, to make everything else possible. And that's when I shifted from being busy to being productive. You feel me? I really shifted from being busy to being productive because I internalized that information. I no longer minded because the Millionaire Fast Lane, it put me into a mindset of only two things matter: time and money. Time and money, right? And then when you understand the concept that time is money, only thing that matters is time. And when you want more time, you're going to need more money, and you'll figure out the way. It's the universal's code and some shit. Like once you calibrate it towards some shit, everything else opens up for you the way it's supposed to. You feel what I'm saying? So I had realized that I was flipping it. I was sacrificing the time. I was trying to accumulate the money at the expense of the time instead of the other way around. I should have been trying to accumulate the time at the expense of the money. The money was going to keep rolling in. The money's going to keep rolling in, but I have to focus on having my time. So how do I do that? That shifted me to being more productive. So what I did was, when I went into the one thing, when I started reading the one thing first, it was basically telling me, yo, pick one thing. Like one thing that we often do is we have priorities, right? We try to make priorities plural. Very dangerous waters. Reason why it's very dangerous waters, because if you actually look at the definition of a priority, it is the one thing with the most importance. You can't have multiple things with the same level of importance because you never get shit done. That's busy. That's busy as fuck. And it makes no sense. You dig what I'm saying? However, off the other side of that, once you find that one thing and you complete it and you get it done and you go on to the next one, that one thing is now leverage. You feel me? One of my biggest obstacles was not using leveraging things, but having a bunch of things and then trying to leverage all of those. And each one requires its own level of energy that has to be in motion before you can go on to the next one. So from there, it kind of put me into the perspective, okay, bam, focus on one thing. So from there, I started to focus on really just focusing on my book, period. All right. So I was like, how can I do this without having to be on social media all day? How can I do this without having to do these things? How can I do this particular part without, burning out again? Because that was the first thing I had in my book, So Frail. That was when I first started. Right. And then, of course, Hitting the Raw came out after that. The Hitting the Raw course. Then I was trading and all of that other shit. But So Frail was the first thing. So it was like, what is the one thing that I can do that makes So Frail a reality? Right. So it was like, okay, bam, I need to learn how to market it. I need to learn how to advertise it. And I need to keep it moving fluidly every single day. One of the simplest quotes that I've heard was still so profound to me was, if you want to sell something every day, you have to advertise it every day. Whoa. In the beginning stages, it was just word of mouth. Like, yeah, I got his book out. Check it out. I didn't know the shit that I know now about, fuck that. There's people looking for that book. Go find them. You feel what I'm saying? That's productive. Busy is just, I'm going to talk to every motherfucking body because I think they should have this book. Because there was people that would read it. And now, granted, there was people that would read it. And what fucked me up, because there was people that I never thought would read it that actually did. You feel what I'm saying? And there's people that I assumed would read it and never did. For example, like when I first wrote the book, I wrote it because, one, I don't like to repeat myself. Two, it came up again. But the biggest reason was because I had this Instagram follower, traveler. I had this Instagram traveler with me. And this was in 2015. I was like, yo, I'm ready for that book. They was reading my captions and shit. And they were like, I'm ready for the book to drop. I dropped the book. The person didn't get it. I'm like, in a sense, I'm like, I did it for you. But then it's like, nah, that was just a spark to get you to write the motherfucking book. You feel me? And it was like, you can't expect people just because they're in the same mindset that want what you're giving. You have to know how to get to them. You feel me? That was a part of the marketing. That was a part of the advertising. That was a part of all of that other shit that I had known nothing about. Those are the things that I didn't sharpen my axe with. All right. Look. The markets are not a difficult place to understand. All right. You just have to know what you're looking at. And there's 5 things that you need to see before you can make any market entry. First, you need a pocket so you can know which direction the market is going in. Second, you need a pullback so you can get the better price. Third, you need a battlefield so you can see when that market movement is slowing down. Fourth, you need the upper hand so you can see when the market reactivates. And last, you need a final push so you can see the exact moment when it's time to go with the direction you are already moving in. Okay? Of course, there's so much more that has to go into that, and it's not as cut and dry as that. But those are things that I teach in my Mastering the Market course. So if you would like to learn more, please visit IamJustSing.com and check out the Mastering the Market course today. Although it is directed and specialized for Forex, all of the skills, I crafted them to be transferable to any market that you're looking at. So again, visit IamJustSing.com and check out the Mastering the Market course today if you are truly looking to master the market. You dig what I'm saying? But I started learning these things, started keeping things in rotation and shit. And then So Pharrell, I started to see, bam, So Pharrell is really moving up the numbers on this Amazon shit. You feel me? I would have preferred the motherfuckers bought it straight from me, but whatever. They bought it, and that was the goal. You feel me? That process really showed me a lot. It showed me a lot because in shifting from that to productivity, I started focusing on one thing at a time. So like I said, that was the first book. I started focusing on one thing at a time, one thing to make everything else easier. Now I'm in a position to where it's like my thing, in order for me to have a presence that I need to have, to sell my books, sell my courses, keep my podcast flowing and bring in the new people, I have to continue to advertise. Everything I do needs advertisement, needs marketing and advertisement. So bam, I need to do that. So now that's one priority. Keep the advertisements going. So my next priority was, how do I keep the advertisements going? Well, you got to pay for them. So I have to be able to create an ad that is so important, that is so potent and so impactful that it captures whoever's watching it. Because now I need to reduce the metrics that I have for the prices that I'm paying for these particular events. You feel what I'm saying? For example, I use an example of the funnel that I use when I'm advertising to build my traffic, to get the right people in and to keep the right people and expand and find the motherfuckers, right? So what I do, I run Facebook, Instagram ads. I could do Twitter, I could do YouTube, pretty much all one and the same at the end of the day. You feel me? They just have little intricacies and nuances that you have to have. So first thing I learned to do is stop using images and start using videos. Social media is now shifting to video branding as a whole. You feel me? Now, nobody wants a commercial anymore. They need advertisements. They need to know that it needs to look like organically used, need to be a scroll stopper, right? So my funnel now goes from, I create the video, I do the ad copy. Those are things I had to learn too, copywriting, all of that. It's just a lot of shit. I didn't sharpen my axe in the beginning. My shit's sharp now, but I didn't sharpen it in the beginning. So when I look at it, I did waste a lot of time being busy. You feel what I'm saying? But it showed me I had to tap into learning what I didn't know. So going back to that. So now my funnel is simple. And I use the same funnel for every new thing that I launch, everything that I'm trying to sell, whatever the case may be. First thing, when I create my ad, I put my ad copy in, get my creator pop in, pixels and all of this shit, connect everything to my website so I can track these motherfuckers so I know who's coming to my shit, right? From there, what I do is I create my first ad set solely for video views. My intent with my first ad is video views and social proof. You feel me? I need it to be seen that motherfuckers is fucking with it. You feel what I'm saying? So first thing I do, and this right here is pretty much gonna tell my secret, but first thing I do is, my main social media, it's like this. I give y'all free shit every day and y'all can't. I ain't gonna front. I was bitter at one point in time towards my main social media page. So I'm like, I give y'all shit every day and y'all can't even look out. But then it's like, damn, y'all got all these followers and it's like, I don't have, like, all of these people didn't buy shit from me. All these people don't have what I have. But then I was like, because all these people aren't looking for it, what you have. I wanted people just because it was me. And you say you fuck with me, then fuck with my shit. Nah, you gotta make, people gotta want your shit to fuck with it, right? So what I do is my first part of my advertising is, well, it's advertising and marketing together because I got to create the belief and advertise what I'm, creating at one time. The marketing is the belief, the advertising is the showing and the presentation, right? Basically, got 2 episodes on that. So in building that up, what I do is I run my first ad to my social media page, to my main page, the people that see me every single day. They know my face, they know what my ads are looking for, they know all of my brands. And I use them, I use y'all solely for social proof. You feel me? I literally only target the people who I know are gonna like, click, and share my shit. Period. Feel me? It can come off as, hustle-ish, you feel me? Or whatever the case may be, but it's a necessary thing, because it's like when it all boils down to it, it's like, if I'm giving y'all all of this for free, y'all gonna give me something back for free. A like, it ain't much. A share ain't much. It's simple. It's simple. But when you see my shit, this is what I want you to do, because I'm giving y'all all of this shit. I could be that motherfucker who's on some, randomly post a cash. If y'all looking out for me, it's like, nah, I don't want to do them like that. So I leverage them. So I take my first asset, which is probably usually a video, and I blast it straight to my social media outlet, my main social media outlet. You feel me? I run it for only about a week. Only about a week, real cheap. You feel me? Because I just need the likes, shares, and comments. You feel me? I get a decent amount of people that come through my page because I post so much content. I get a decent amount of people that come through every week. You feel me? So it's enough motherfuckers in that bitch. But I only use like 3 days because those are my real ones. Those are the people, when it pops up for 3 days, those are the people that have been there since 2015, 2016. They know me. They know the shit that I'm putting out into the world. They know this shit. You feel me? Those are the people who have likely clicked the link in the bio and they have access to all of my brands. So they see Mastering the Market. They see Sofrel Books. They see Hitting It Raw. They see motherfucking the Just Sing podcast. They see these things. They like it. They don't necessarily have to click it. They don't necessarily have to be one to check it out. Some of them do, but for the most part, my focus is, bam, here's what I need you to do for me. So they'll like it. They'll share it, blast it on social media, blast it on all these things. So now what I do is I take that ad and now I run it solely for video views, right? Because first I got to go social proof. Next I got to go video views. So the video views, I use them because anybody, I've learned from the analytics, anybody who watches a video over anywhere between 50 to 75%, you'll convert them. They're likely to be somebody that is interested in what you're talking about. You feel what I'm saying? My videos are 30 seconds. I try to make them about 30 seconds long. Try not to get to a minute, but I try to make them 30 seconds long as much as possible. You feel me? And I market for it. Anybody who watched the video over 15%, over 50%. You feel me? Because I know what I put in what parts of the video. You feel what I'm saying? By 50%, you already know. For example, Sofrel Books, by 50%, you already know. I already know that at the 50% mark, I've already told you what book 1, book 2 is about, and I told you the definition of masculinity. You're still here. So now you want to see what the next step is. So anybody who watches over that, bam, they're now in the audience pool. So let me quick backtrack. So after I get the social proof, then I change my audience to a cold audience that is laser detailed for my niche. You feel what I'm saying? I'm about to pop out 2 books on that too. Finding your niche and building your audience. I'm about to do a bundle on that shit. On those 2, they're gonna be digital ebooks. So don't ask about physical copies, but they're gonna be digital ebooks and shit. I'm gonna sell in a bundle. Probably you'll probably see it by the time this video is 2 weeks. This episode is 2 weeks old. But anyway, back to the thing. So I changed that to my cold audience and run the video views directly to them. So now I have social proof. Everybody on Facebook don't know. Everybody on social media don't know everybody on social media. So when they see these likes and shares, they don't know if it's a friend. They don't know if it's somebody. They just know it's a motherfucker that's co-signing right now. You feel what I'm saying? So that gives them the incentive to watch the video. It's crazy. It's crazy how people, the little likes that we love so much, the hearts and shit like that. It's the reason that those things are so popular. Because when you see that shit and you see this person like, oh, I need to fuck with this because everybody else is too and I'm late. The more likes and shit that you see on a motherfucking post or whatever the case may be, the later people feel they are. And the more they feel inclined to fuck with it. We're shit, but hey, I gotta leverage it. So when I run to my cold audience, I now have, I do the video views for over 50%. So I now track that anybody who watches this over 50%, they're likely to be in the audience that I'm looking for. But that's still not the audience that I need to find just yet. I got to pinpoint this shit and break it down. So Prior to that, I create all of the audiences pools that I need. I need my audience for Instagram, audience for Facebook. I need video view audience. I need landing page view audience. I need purchase audience, initiate checkout, added carts, because there's levels to where the person is. And there's levels to the type of people that are like that. You feel what I'm saying? So after I run the video views, I run that video view thing for about, I run a video view for about a week again, because my goal is to get over 100 people that have watched over 50%. You feel what I'm saying? Within a small pocket. You feel what I'm saying? 100 people. Now, the other metrics that click in, as far as like landing page views and lead generation, all of those shit, those aren't my intent. They're good if I get them, but that shows that, because that shows that this is an effective ad at a higher point in the funnel. It moves people down a lot faster. You feel what I'm saying? So once I get about over 100 people within that week, maybe, you know, and I'm doing that because audiences update every 3 to 7 days on social media dynamically, right? So for social media marketing. So I'm doing that for about a week. So I know that by that next week, 7 days, it's already updated and it got a solid audience. So then what I do is I take that same video, right, with the same likes and everything. I use that existing post and I move it down the funnel. So at this point, I go from the video views and then I change the audience to an audience who looks like the people who watch the videos. So a lookalike audience works by, you need at least a minimum of 100 people, right? The fact that I've already fine-tuned my audience, you feel me, with the laser point, it's like I know who I'm looking for. I don't have to add too many more metrics to it. Now I'm going into, these people are going to watch a video. So now it's like, I got this audience of people who watch videos for more than 50%, right? They watch this particular video that I'm talking about. So from there, once I get over 100, now my lookalike audience starts to generate. The lookalike audience takes at the minimum of 100 people that have liked your shit or that have engaged with your shit, and it creates a bigger web of them. I think it's like 2.4. You can do a 1% lookalike audience, 1% of the population on Facebook that fit within this, right? They fit within this pocket, and it creates like a lookalike audience that has 2.4 billion people in it. So with that 2.4 million, so off of 100 people, at minimum of 100 people, I just found 2.4 million people. You feel me? 2.4 million people who are likely to watch 50% or more of the video. It's very important, because now when I move them down to the next part of the funnel, when I move them down to the next phase of the funnel, which is my landing page, which is you landing and hitting my content, that is a whole different audience. Because with that, then I can start getting conversions, because all I need is over 25 in a week, 25 people to actually hit my landing page, and then I can create an audience off of that once I get over 100. The shit's fucking phenomenal how to move them down the funnel, ultimately until you get to your final ending point of the funnel. So let's say if I was selling merch, my final ending point, of course, would be the purchase. Everything is ultimately the purchase, but merch is a lot easier for me to break down because it's faster. You feel me? So once the merch gets to a point where it has moved all the way down the funnel to purchases, to where my lookalike audience are people who purchase and everything about the ad is solely on purchasing, that's it. I ain't gonna say I can guarantee, but I can expect sales every single day, because it's only going for people that are likely to, like, that fit the criteria of motherfuckers who buy this type of shit. It's dope. It's fucking dope. It's fucking dope. You know, now some points, like for example with So Frail, because I sell it as, you feel me, directly from my store, print on demand. Like you have to go, like I don't keep any physical copies because I can't fulfill that demand by myself. I know I can't. So I choose to do the print on demand. It's like, yeah, it takes a little bit longer for the person to get the book, but they get that book. And you know what I'm saying? It prints out, ships off directly and shit. I don't have to touch it. So with that, I can't really track the purchasing part. But what I can track up until the point where they get to that page. And from there, once I get there, it's like now I'm, you know, in a point of understanding the 50-50, either they're going to buy it or they're not. But I've already done everything up to that point. So that has significantly reduced my burnout because my axe is sharp. You feel what I'm saying? My axe is sharp. I mentioned it a while ago. I forgot which EntrepreNEGUS it was, but I was talking about probably advertising, because I was talking about how things are automated. You feel what I'm saying? There's a lot of shit that has to go into it, like the email list and different emails that you got to send out, sequences and shit every certain days. Like certain things have to go into it to where it's autopilot. You feel me? To where it's like, now, just let the ads run. You feel what I'm saying? So the advertising was at one point. So now I have to apply this to each one of my brands. But now it's like, how do I keep the advertising in? Because sometimes some things don't pay me. Like my merch doesn't pay me every single day. You dig what I'm saying? My merch doesn't pay me every single day. My merch pays me every month. My vegan book pays me either every day or every month, depending on where they bought it from, which is tricky because it's like most people are, I'm gonna go ahead and get it from Amazon, or I'm gonna go ahead and get it on the Nook, or I'm gonna go ahead and get it from here. I'm not gonna get it directly from you. I'm gonna go to where, like, and it makes sense. But when they go to those outside sources, that's when I have to wait a little longer. So for real, I can probably get paid I get paid the next week if it's bought directly from me, but then it's up to 90 days if it's from Amazon, Barnes and Noble, different places like that. So these things are also have to be factored in. You feel what I'm saying? My podcast, that's pretty much every day for the most part. That's pretty much, I can cash out when I want to with that. But what else? Everything else I had to picture in, like, what do I need to put in? Because at the end of the day, when I looked at it, it's like everything was 30 days. So what's the next thing? There's one thing that I can do to generate the income I need while simultaneously keeping my ads running and offset the things that, are going to be delayed. Because I could sell a book from Sofa right now, but I don't know where I sold it from. I won't know where I sold it from until the next week. Then it hits me and says, okay, we shipped the book out. So now you get paid. Or I see Amazon rank go up. And it's like, okay, well, they got it from Amazon. I can't trip on that. Right? Because I still got to sell. I just got to wait 90 days. So the one thing that led that to was, using trading, because I can get paid every day off that. But the liquidation of the money is about 3 business days. So that's the quickest turnaround for the money that I can get, about 3 days. So I said, okay, let me focus on that, right? Now, when I focused on the trading, I said, okay, man, let me focus on the trading. Now I can keep these ads running. So now when they reach that point where the cycle is already going, it's just in motion. You feel what I'm saying? Everything's good, everything's golden. There's not the separation. You feel what I'm saying? So for books, you feel me? To be in a position to where I'm, now getting paid every month off of Sofa books is because of what I had to start doing 90 days ago to guarantee, once I'm out this 90-day window, everything else is week by week, pretty much. You feel me? Once I'm out of the 90-day window, but I got to get out that 90-day window. You feel me? For my Hidden the Raw book, once I'm out of this 30-day window, I'm good. My merch, once I'm out of this 30-day window, I'm good. You feel me? And then it keeps going. It keeps going. It keeps building. It keeps building. It keeps growing. You feel me? In autopilot, basically. But then that takes away from, okay, the trading, it can get cut back because I don't have to trade every single day anymore. I don't have to trade 2 times a day like I was doing. When I first started, I was trading 2 times a day. Then it went down to 1 time a day. Now it's like, okay, let me just expand and do a bigger thing and split it. Let me go put some investments and let me go do some day trading and shit. And you feel me? I'm not doing this shit every day because it's mentally taxing. It becomes mentally taxing because it burns you out. You dig what I'm saying? But those were the one things. Those were the one things that I realized I had to put first to make everything else flow fluidly. Then once I got trading down packed and mastered, I said, okay, bam. Now I can start the advertising. Then the advertising was like, boom, funded here, boom, boom, boom. Then it's like the other things were just simple. Then it got to the point where I really ain't even got to post on social media, bro. I don't. You feel me? I can set up automations where I set up when I'm due for Sundays, I can set up everything I'm going to post for that week on all of my platforms. Post them shits and leave it alone. Walk away from it. You feel me? Because that's what it was all about, the time and the money, which now leads me to the second book, which is The Millionaire Fast Lane. And reading that book, it basically gave me the rundown. As an entrepreneur, it's either about time or money. What do you want more of? You feel me? If you want more time, you'll have more money. But if you want more money, you'll lose more time. That is a crazy thing because time is money. That is a fucked up paradox. You feel me? So from there, it was stop taking the shortcut. Stop trying to find free shit to get you to do this. Stop trying to do that, to do this, to do that. You feel me? There's ways in which you can maneuver certain things and learn how to use that leverage. But you got to learn how to find it. You dig what I'm saying? One of the first things that I did was I went to Fiverr. Fiverr is a freelancing joint. You feel me? Where you can pay people little shit to do amazing things. Now, granted, when I was first doing my book covers and shit, my first book cover so far, I did that on Microsoft Word because, you feel me, I ain't want no middleman. You feel me? That's why it didn't come out. So for too, I did that on Photoshop myself, but the hitting it raw, I didn't do that. I paid somebody to do that one because that was their thing. You feel me? My thing was so many different things. I just wanted to be able to get it done, but I was like, all right, bet. I'm not doing that shit. It just so happened that the way So Frail came out, all 3 books are going to be able to be created and covered like So Frail 2. However, I'm not dropping the reprint of So Frail, of the first So Frail, until I drop So Frail 3 because I'm just going to put them all together. But that first cover, I just did that shit on Microsoft Word, painted and shit. It's going to be something simple. You feel me? Because I just really wanted to get it done. I was busy. You feel me? There's levels to the shit. But, yeah, for the most part, it was taking that information that he was saying about time and money and using that. I said, I need more time. So how do I get more time? You feel me? So that's when I started, okay, look, let me learn this. All right, let me put a little bit more money into this. Let me put a little bit more money into that. And then the skills that I attained flipped that money. It was an investment. I learned like, it's an investment, bro. This ain't spending money. I'm not spending shit. So that eventually transformed me out of that. And then it helped reduce the burnouts that I had. Did I still have burnouts? Yeah, I still have burnouts. That's why you ain't getting none last week. That's when you didn't get none last week. Because I took on some extra tasks. I took on some extra jobs because I have more money. I have more time. You feel me? So I took on some extra tasks. Like I'm now editing, I'm editing third-party podcasts, operating as a sounding board for someone writing a book. You feel what I'm saying? I'm helping another person build their webpage and their e-commerce store up and shit like that. There's other things that I'm doing now because I have more time that I can do because these things are now doing what they're supposed to be doing. You feel what I'm saying? So, like I said, that burnout that I just had from last week, I took the whole week, everything. I'm off social media. I'm off everything. I'm anything that I define as work, I took myself away from it. You feel what I'm saying? So within that burnout, that was the first burnout I had. I say in this year, 2020, I've only had 2 burnouts. 2 burnouts in 2020 as opposed to my first 2 years having 12. I feel like I'm becoming more productive. I'm not as busy as I used to be. You feel what I'm saying? But one of the things that really heightens that up, and what I'm learning through it all, and this was my biggest vice, because in taking this break, I was also coming to terms with a reality that I might have to, now this ain't no emotional shit. I don't want to be on no emotional type time. Oh, y'all are going to miss me when I'm gone. Nah, I was in a position where I'm like, I'm going to have to shut down my main social media page and just not like let it die. It served its purpose, but I realized that I don't have to shut it down off one side, but at the same time, it's like that should never have been my focus. I stayed in it too long. You feel me? That was leverage. I was leveraging that to open up the portals for everything else. Still keep the page, of course, and still do the things, but understand that I don't have to shut it down because I have to just recalibrate. You feel what I'm saying? But I was fighting that because a lot of times it's the people that are supporting you the most that are keeping you in your state of your grind, that are not allowing you to break. You feel what I'm saying? And here's what I mean by that. I got one homie. Well, I got multiple homies, but this one homie particularly says these things. She was like, she'll hit me up. Like if I'm not on social media for a couple of days or some shit like that, she'll hit me up. What you working on? I'm like, how the fuck you know I'm working on something? She's like, cause when you disappear like this, you're doing something. You're grinding. Something's about to come out. She's like, you don't just, as long as I've known you, every time you pop up, you got something new, whether it be a book, whether it be a course, whether it be something, you have something new. And you know what I mean? What are you working on? I'm like, damn, all right, I'm working on this, that, and the third. See, I knew it. But that's one side of it. The other side of it is the people who travel with you. And I'm not necessarily going to say that they're leeches or anything like that, but what you provide has become their medicine. not their cure. It hasn't done anything to make them push beyond needing you. You feel what I'm saying? So if I'm gone for like 2-3 days, that's crazy. It's crazy. If I'm not on social media for like 2 or 3 days, I could literally just, I don't got shit to post, bro. I ain't, you feel me? I don't feel like my DMs are bro. Yo, you okay? Everything good? I haven't seen, like, I'm okay. Like, I appreciate you checking on me, but are you really checking on me? You feel me? Because you don't check on me in my presence, so why check on me in my absence? It's no no slight to them. It's just that point. The point that I'm making with that is that can keep you in a burnout. Who you're doing it for? What are you doing this for? You feel what I'm saying? You feel me? A lot of the people that I've helped, and, go through certain things in this life over the course of the last 4 or 5 years, just through social media alone, they ultimately are responsible for me creating things like the Just Seen podcast, where it's like people want to hear some of the shit that I be talking about, and things just condensed, or my YouTube videos, or, different things like that. And the Chatting with Scene, these things all came about because of the people along the way who I was doing this for. You feel what I'm saying? It's like, yo, show me how to do this and the third, because blah, 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 blah. How did you hear it? Teach me this. I want to sit at your feet. I want to pick your brain. I want to do, like, these things came about because of that. Look at some of the titles of the Just Seen podcast. I mean, not the Just Seen podcast, the Chatting with Scene sessions. That's what motherfuckers do. I just want to pick your brain. Like, all right, I ain't really want nothing. All right, shit. You feel me? But I ain't really want nothing usually turns into something more, because I know what they're coming for. You dig what I'm saying? So it's like, if I'm not there, it's like, bam, you okay? Something's wrong. No, nothing's wrong. Everything will be right. But that can keep you in a burnout, because you want to consistently stay on and stay in people's minds. So in me making my social posts and in me doing the things that I was doing, it was like my burnout was supported. I'm not blaming those people, because they didn't even know I was burning out. They just knew I was getting this money. They knew I was hustling. They knew I was this. So they was encouraging me, yo, keep it up, bro. Keep it at work. I'm proud of you, blah, blah, blah. And that kept me in the burnout. That literally kept me in the burnout. It made me burn out a lot faster, because it's like, if I drop the ball, they're going to do this. Like, yeah, they're not my responsibility. They grown ass motherfucking adults who can solve their own problem just the same way I did. I just happen to be the motherfucker who can steer you to where you need to go to heal your shit. You feel what I'm saying? But that kept me in that space, because it's like, all right, let me go drop some thought-provoking shit, make the captions, like, let me flood them with some captions. Now, let me go post for Master in the Market. All right, now, let me go post for Hitting It Raw. Now, let me go post for my merch. Now, let me go post for my podcast. Okay, now what do I got to do? Okay, I got to record 2 podcasts this week. Okay, let me go do that. Now, let me do it. And it's like, at some point, the burnout is different. Like, the podcast ultimately became because I was wasting too much time. I ain't gonna say wasting. I was using too much time doing videos. The videos was popping. Don't get me wrong. The videos was dope and they did what they were supposed to do, but it's the same thing as this podcast. It's just a lot quicker. You feel what I'm saying? It's a lot quicker. So doing it for those people, it's like, now, like my podcast, like, yo, when's the next episode coming out? Like, when's this coming out? Like, I'm like, yo, this is what I tell you, every Wednesday and Saturday, expect to have an episode. That's it. Unless I do an impromptu. You feel what I'm saying? Unless I do an impromptu. But these are things that are like, okay, now this is what I have to do. My podcast is another leveraging point. That's 2 birds, 1 stone for me. You feel what I'm saying? I literally do not have to pay for advertising if I don't want to. You feel me? I can literally do it like this if I need it. If I can do it just like this. I can put all of my intentions and all of my energy solely towards my podcast and run that, just advertise that, and everything else will flow. Because I can insert an advertisement for my Soul Frail books through the Soul Frail Conversations. I can insert these different things because I can insert an ad for Mastering the Market. You feel me? I can insert an ad for my merch. I can insert an ad for whatever it is that I need to do. And I can control that. I can say what the fuck I want to say in the ads and not have to worry about being, because now this is my platform, but this is about the productivity part. This is about the productivity part. Productivity is about being able to do more with less. And I'm at a point where I can do that. If I didn't want to literally do anything else, like if trading, day trading and shit, investing, if that wasn't such a visual thing, I make mad podcast episodes on that shit, but you can't visually see what I'm talking about. If I can figure out a way to do that shit, bet your ass I'm gonna do that shit. You feel what I'm saying? Vegan shit, I can do that shit here too. It's just I'm in the flow for where I'm at right now. I might start my vegan shit top of the year or something, like get back into that. Because I got video series on that as far as YouTube goes, and it's like I felt I dropped enough information, but it's like, damn, bro, those were 2018 recordings. Shit's old now. It's outdated. Nobody's like, you don't even look the same. My beard's thicker. So you feel what I'm saying? Shit like that plays into the difference between being busy and productive, because it's who's supporting you. You feel me? It's who's supporting you. I was being supported by hustlers. Everybody was a hustler. Everybody, I wasn't really being supported by entrepreneurs yet because I had not stepped into that realm. When I stepped into that realm, I'm like, yo, y'all don't really do shit. I already did the work. And that's what it was about for me. Already having the work done, because that's what separates the busy from the productive. You feel what I'm saying? That's what ultimately prevents the burnouts. You feel me? If I burn out now, it's not because I was trying to sell some books. It's not because I was trying to sell some courses. It's not because of the different things like that. It's like I burnt out this last time because I literally took on multiple tasks, and they were new tasks. That's it. You feel me? Like I'm saying, I'm now editing somebody else's podcast. It's different because now I'm using their voice. I know what my voice is supposed to sound like. I know what my settings are supposed to be. I don't have, like, I used to produce music back in the day. So that's a no-brainer for me. I know what I'm supposed to sound like to me, sonically. Other people is different. Like, I have to elevate the things, cut certain shit out. And it's like, me, all this shit is done in one take. I don't cut shit out anymore. Like, I don't have to. Like, this shit is one take. You feel me? So it's different. You know what I'm saying? So that put it on. So it's like, then taking on, okay, I'm working on I'm gonna help somebody with their website, helping somebody put together a book at the same time. And it's all of these things are setting up for something different. Like I'm speaking, more people are inviting me, yo, I want you to come do this webinar on my platform, yo, send me up with that. Like, these things are different. So it's like that burnout is different. It's more so, okay, now that I have more time, I'm trying to feel it. It's like, now I need to learn how to fill that void better. You feel what I'm saying? To avoid more burnouts. But that is a very pivotal point of the success of a person in the entrepreneur realm. Know when the fuck you're going to burn out, and know what your burnout is, and prevent it, and avoid the stresses and avoid the things that you're going to involve yourself with that are inevitably going to make you burn out. You feel me? And know how to prevent them before they actually occur. You dig what I'm saying? Know when your mind is getting sore. And when your mind is getting sore, take a break.
And don't forget to take a moment to go get your exclusive merchandise from Just Scenes merch. At Just Scenes, each piece is specifically crafted with positive imagery and symbolism. From the titles and designs to the descriptions, each style gives you something to feel great about. With everything from hoodies and tees to coffee mugs and tote bags, we have something for the entire family. So be sure to get yours today. Find us on Instagram at Just Scenes merch and get your merchandise right now.
All right. Welcome back. We're going to wrap up there. I really wanted to talk about this side of the burnout, and then how to and use a way in which I leverage to overcome it. You feel what I'm saying? Do I still burn out? Yes, the fuck still burn out. You're never not going to burn out. You feel me? But now I know when I'm about to burn out, because now, like I said, I use the metaphor of a physical body. If I'm working out to muscle failure, and I literally know I struggled on this last one, I'm not going to try to push out 2 more. I'm just not. That's just not me anymore. I guess that comes with the maturity. That comes with being 30 now. I don't know. But I'm not going to try to do that shit anymore. I'm going to say, all right, fuck it, rack it. And then I'm going to come back and do another set when I rested a little bit. You dig what I'm saying? I'm not going to say, fuck it, one more. And then now this bitch is stuck halfway on my chest and I can't get it up. And I ain't got a spot. You feel what I'm saying? Like, it's shit like that you want to avoid. And those are the things like that I kind of wanted to discuss. You dig what I'm saying? Those are the things that I wanted to discuss. Because now the burnout piece of it all is in my opinion, the make or break moment. People take their burnouts and give up. Because how much recovery do you need after a burnout to get back to work? You dig what I'm saying? And that's a very dangerous place to be when you're an entrepreneur. Very dangerous place to be because you're your own boss. You literally tell yourself, I need to get up and be in this position at this particular time. You know, when you're working for somebody, that burnout is different. That's why they give you 2 days, 2 days in a weekend. That's all you need to recover. Our bodies are conditioned to it. 2 days. After 5 days of strenuous working, after 5 days of 8 hours a day, 2 days, 2 full days, so 24 hours, 48 hours basically, you know, it's what your body needs to recover from what just taxed you 5 days during the week. Entrepreneurship is different because what are your business hours? You feel me? Are you grinding or are you hustling? Are you busy or are you being productive? Because what are your business hours? What times do you work? You feel me? Do you literally only work from 7 to 3? Do you work, okay, I'm going to put in a 7 to 10. Now I'm going to come back at a 6 to 10. Then I'm going to sleep for about 30 minutes. I'm going to wake up from like 3 to 7 again, take me another nap. Like, what is it? What is it? That's the easiest way to burn yourself out. No structure, no discipline. You dig what I'm saying? That leads to the burnouts. Doing too much. Have you, you know, and I don't want to be one of those people. I'm one of these people who's going to say this. If it's perfect by the time you put it out, you waited too late. You feel me? I'm going to say it on that side of it. But then on the other side of it, I'm like, you need to learn everything you need to learn before you move forward. Now I get it. Some of us get caught up in that because it's like, I keep learning, and we end up being theorists with no experience. You feel me? It's motherfuckers that can talk the entrepreneur game, but it's some motherfucker who's experiencing that can break it down so different, totally different for you. Like when I'm talking about trading, it shocks people. You know, some of the people that have rolled into the course is like, yo, you did what with it? Because they don't hear me talk about Fibonacci's and MACDs and all this. I understand them. I understand all that shit. I don't need it. I don't use it. I don't have to. You feel what I'm saying? Because I've reached the point where I understand what the fuck the market is saying. That's why I call the shit master in the market. I understand what the fuck the market is saying. You feel me? But it took me to actually sharpen my axe to understand that shit. So when I tell people, like people will send me motherfuckers like, and sometimes I forget the own technical jargon that I use. So they'll be like, is this so I had somebody send me a screenshot of a stock they were looking at, and they said, is this a good buy? I said, no, they're selling it. They were like, how are they selling it if the price is going up? I said, all right, you'll see. It's a villain. I said, it's a villain pocket. I said, it's a villain pocket, and it's nowhere near the bottom. It's nowhere near the recent low. So I wouldn't buy into this right now. So they're like, what? But it's going up. I know it's going up. I know it shows that the prices. I know you got a whole green chart sitting right in front of you. But I'm telling you what the market is doing right now. It is selling. It's like, how you know? I said, go up a time frame. They went up a time frame, and the whole shit was red. They was like, how did you? Because I know what I'm doing. You feel me? You were in a villain's pocket. If you would have bought that, the price would have went down against you. Then you ultimately would have got out, and you wouldn't have let it regulate. It wouldn't have came back because you would have been expecting it to continue to go up from the moment you bought it, not what the analysis is telling you, not what the actual market is saying to you. The market is saying, yo, we're selling this shit. Get rid of it. Don't buy anymore. Or let it get down to its lowest possible price and then get back in with the motherfuckers who are going to buy it. Don't get in right now. You feel what I'm saying? And that came from sharpening my axe. Otherwise, it would have just been a hit and miss. It would have been like, oh yeah, I can buy now. It's green. No. You feel what I'm saying? And that goes back to a point that I made earlier about doing something right. It's not necessarily being productive with it. You could do something right 3 times, and that could create in your mind that I have created a cycle with this. I know what I'm doing, and you can be completely wrong. And you can be doing the right thing. You doing the wrong thing just happens to have a right result out of it, and then it gets stuck. And then when you start doing that same thing again, and you keep losing, you're like, what is happening? That was something I had to learn from trading. You feel me? Same situation. I'm like, yo, this looks like a buy. I'm going to buy it. It's going up. I'm going to buy it. No, it's going up to a trap where they're about to sell it. They're just getting a better price. And you're going to be the motherfucker to get ate the fuck up because they're selling it on a higher time frame. They're getting rid of this shit. So you feel what I'm saying? It's the little nuances like that really made me step back, because I say, you know what? I need to learn all of the shit that I have to do if I want to be what I want to be. You dig what I'm saying? If I want to be in a position that I really want to be in, it's like one of the things that lead to burnout, but also helps me gain my productivity, is that I set unrealistic expectations for myself. It's a quandary. It's a very, very stark quandary, but you have to understand certain things when they come to you. You feel me? They say shoot for the moon, because if you miss, you land amongst the stars, right? And sometimes you might go past the moon. You feel me? Keep that in mind too, you know. And in learning from the beginning, it was everything I did. I said, I'm gonna shoot past the moon, because I set this intention for myself. Like, for example, with So For Real, like I always tell the story, So For Real, my goal, I launched the book in November of 2018. That's when the physical copy came out. I said by October of 2017, I'm gonna sell 100,000 copies. Why did I say that? I set an unrealistic expectation for myself, but the universe showed me the productivity that was gonna be needed to do that. Did I sell 100,000 copies? Hell the fuck no, because I ain't had none of the skills or the resources, because I was still being busy. I had not stopped to be productive. I had not stopped to say, you know what? Let me learn what it's going to take to sell 100,000 copies. Not just have this is what it is. That's why it's like, I always talked about, I mentioned goals and intentions. The goal was 100,000 copies. Was the intention to really sell 100,000 copies? Nope. My intention wasn't there, and that's why I burnt out. Trying to sell that shit, because now I'm like, okay, build my social media presence. If I can get 100,000 followers, this is my logic. If I can get 100,000 followers and about 10% of people buy from you that fuck with you like that, that's 10,000 sales. And I said, damn, I got to do that 10 times. 10,000 sales, 10,000. That means I need 1 million followers. The fuck? But rather than trying to learn marketing and advertising, I try to go for 1 million followers. Nigga, that's damn near impossible, bro. Like, you feel me? Unless you like, even celebrities don't really got the millions like that, but you feel what I'm saying? Like, shit like you got to know what kind of impacts you have to have in order to do that. So shit like that, it put things into perspective for me. You feel me? Like I said, setting unrealistic goals, it was the cause of my burnout, but it's what caused my productivity, because at some point I got tired of burning out. I said, fuck this, bro. How can I do this the smart way? And that's when I was like, okay, let me focus on one thing and let me gain my time back, right? And that's when the burnouts reduced. When I became productive, the burnout started to reduce. I wasn't just busy anymore. I learned to be intentional with the shit that I was doing. I said, you know what? This is what I'm going to need. Bam, bam, bam. Here's how it has to be. This is the amount I need to make within a month to keep everything fluid without stopping. Bam. This is what I got to go for. How do I break this down? I break it down by, okay, this has to go here. This has to go here. This has to go here. I don't just look at all the pieces and say, just do it. Nah. That gets me out of the burnout, And like I said, I felt like doing this episode because I just came off of a burnout. And this was the first burnout that was just like, over a long time. It's like, I really had not been pushing myself that much, but this was the first real burnout I had. You feel me? The first real burnout that I had, and I took my time. I took a whole week. I was with my family, and I was like, all right, now I can get back to work. Now I feel like I should go back to work. I don't feel like I have to, but I feel like I can go back to work now. And got a clear mind. Boom, boom, boom. Things opened up. Boom. The mind was clearer and it was easy to see. You know what I'm saying? It goes into the willpower of it all too. Learning how to leverage your willpower. That'll be an EntrepreNEGUS episode in the coming weeks, willpower. Because that's another thing too that goes hand in hand with the hustle, the grind, and all of that shit. But it's also its own topic. So, and I'm at the end of this one. But yeah, that's I just got a new look. I just got a new look on everything now. You feel what I'm saying? So I wanted those people who are striving to be entrepreneurs, who feel like, you see this person hustling, you see this person doing it, like, nah, take it from me. Don't burn yourself out. That's just not healthy. That's just not cool. It's tiring. It's exhausting. And it defeats you. Too many burnouts will not, imagine if I wasn't getting the productivity lessons out of my burnouts. I would have quit. 12 burnouts in 2 years. That, in my mind, I would have already been like, yo, this ain't for me. This I just can't do it. This shit just ain't for me. Let me just go back, give me a 9 to 5, stay in there. I tried it. It didn't work. I tried again at another time. Nah, then it's gonna be too late for me. You know, they say you can start at any time, but I just know me. That's why I'm doing this shit now. You feel me? But all of these things tie in dynamically, because when we actually sit and look at it, when we actually sit and put the things together, it's like the burnout is the one thing that separates the hustler from the entrepreneur. The burnout is going to be the, like, overcoming the burnout and knowing what to do with it. You feel what I'm saying? You stop making sloppy moves. You stop, you become a lot more strategic, and you start to learn a lot more. You sharpen your axe. You feel me? So I just wanted to talk about this episode and put this in the entrepreneur light, because it's like, I know a lot of entrepreneurs who, it's like, they don't talk about that. Like, when I look at the social media outlets and the entrepreneur pages and shit, and all the people that are talking about the shit, they're like, I've never heard anybody really talk about the burnout and how to overcome it and how to prevent it from happening. Only way to prevent burnout is to be productive. Only way to guarantee burnout is to be busy. The choice is yours. And you have to be the one who defines what the difference is between productivity and busy is for you. You feel me? Me being busy it might look productive to another motherfucker because I'm getting shit done. But am I producing anything? Like, is anything really being produced? No, I'm just doing shit. Nah, so you got to define that within yourself. Your burnouts will never stop, or you'll never be in control or be able to reduce your burnouts until you have defined what busy is for you or what productive is for you. You dig what I'm saying? And then once you shift into that realm of productivity and you start focusing on one task, build this, and then bam, 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 like bam, that shit's done. I ain't worrying about that no more. I got that shit on smash. You're going to have to put that in. Then you have to understand that as an entrepreneur, you're going to battle 2 points, time and money. Do you want more money or do you want more time? My goal is to have time. I want time. That's it. Because with the time, I can always make the money. But with the money, I can't always make the time. You feel me? So that kind of shifted my perspective and got into that. It calibrated me towards being productive. You feel me? What can I do for this? What can I do for that? Like, that's why it ultimately, it inevitably changed into being able to do chatting with scene sessions where I could talk to people for 2-3 hours at a time, 4 hours at a time at times and shit. Because it's like, how are you able? Because I already have something in motion that when I move this pocket of time, I'm not losing. I'm not losing in that. It's to be able to do what I want to do with my own time. You feel what I'm saying? So that was, that was the burnout. That was the burnout. If you burnt out as an entrepreneur, it just as a person in general, learn how these things can be applied to anything. It's not just entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is just easy to discuss. But stop burning out. You're not a hamster on a wheel. You're not a hamster on a wheel. You're getting nowhere fast. And I'm not saying you particularly, but as a hamster on a wheel, you're getting nowhere fast. And it's like, yeah, I've moved a lot. I've gained a lot of distance, but I didn't have any displacement. Imagine that. All the distance you accumulated, you still don't have displacement. What good is that? You feel me? What good is that? So take this time as my entrepreneurs, as my hustlers, as all, like, learn to differentiate between busy and productive. Learn to differentiate between busy and productive. Trust me, you will change your life. You feel me? And then in being productive, learn to sharpen your axe before you start cutting that tree down. And sharpen it when it starts to get dull. Because you don't want it to get to a point, and I'm going to end with this. If you're using a sharp axe, of course it's going to cut through the tree. You got to have precision. You're going to, keep hitting the same spot inevitably, right? That's with the sharp axe. When the axe starts getting dull, you sharpen it back up. Simple. Now, if you start off with a dull axe and you continue to use a dull axe, it gets to a point where you're no longer chopping the tree, you're hitting it. And at some point, that force is going to cause the handle of that axe to fall off. Then what? That's when your burnouts reach a point where you redline and you can't, your shit shuts down. You dig what I'm saying? Imagine a car shifting gears. You know, it goes and goes. First gear, second gear, third gear. It can redline in each one of these previous gears, but there's still another gear that can carry it. Don't be that person who's redlining and you're refusing to shift the gear, or you're refusing to slow down, thinking I'm redlining, yo, I'm still gunning. You feel me? Because you're going to get so used to that. And once you hit fifth and sixth gear, some cars go to sixth, some go to fifth. Once you hit fifth and sixth gear, let's say it's fifth and that's the last gear, what you going to do when you redline in? You have to slow down or your engine's going to blow. You dig what I'm saying? Once you get to that point where you're on, where your muscles are shaking and you can't push that shit up and you know you're not going to get another one out, rack that bitch. You feel me? But see, like I said, with the mind, you don't know when it's sore. You don't know when it's about to go out. You never know. You feel me? You end up having a mental breakdown. Don't be that person. Don't end up with a mental breakdown for that. Know how to approach when you're broken. Learn when you're about to redline. Learn when you're really about to redline. And learn how to truly tap into that energy to avoid it. You feel me? No more burnouts. They're going to happen, but reduce the amount that you have. Reduce the amount that you have by understanding the difference between busy and productive and learning to be more productive. And then understanding that priority is just one thing. It's the most important thing. Don't put the same level of importance on all things that you have to do within a day. Figure out which things first are the most important, and then which of those is the most important thing that'll make the other things easier to do. You dig what I'm saying? And then find the best opportune time to knock them out and then keep pushing. Then when you feel, okay, my muscles hurt. Okay, my shit's in red line. Slow down. Let me take it back. Let me drop it down again. I'm going too fast. You feel me? Do that so you don't avoid the burnout. But that only comes with being productive. That only comes with being productive. If you need to take a moment to sharpen your axe, sharpen it. You feel it dulling up. Let me go sharpen this shit up before it gets dulled, and now I'm wasting more time sharpening it. It's easier to sharpen an already sharpened axe. It's just simple. You feel me? It's less work that I have to do because there's nothing wrong with this axe. You feel me? There's nothing wrong with this axe anymore. So keep that in mind. You be the axe. You feel me? Don't burn out. Don't burn out. Learn all these other entrepreneur things, but really take this shit away, the burnout, and learn how to be productive as opposed to busy. Busy sounds good to motherfuckers who don't do shit. You feel me? But to productive motherfuckers, busy sounds chaotic. It's like, yo, you need structure. You need to put this shit into reality, yo. Like, you feel me? And know that whoever you're doing this for, don't make yourself a slave to them. A slave to them where you feel like you can't take time away from them. Now, your kids, that's different. They ain't going nowhere. You can't just walk away from them motherfuckers. If you're doing this shit for your kids, keep that energy. But at the same time, when it's all said and done, if what you're doing it for makes you tired and you need a break, take a break. Just take one. It's okay. It's okay. Because you got to think about it. As an entrepreneur, you're building shit for forever. You can't rush forever. If forever was supposed to be a shorter amount of time, it wouldn't be forever. You dig what I'm saying? You're trying to make this last forever. So take it, pace it, and be productive with it. If moving fast is still your pace, move fast with productivity. You feel what I'm saying? Shouldn't be burnt out. Feel me? But productivity, you need to be proactive and you need to put things into it. Busy, you got to be reactive and keep adjusting things on the fly. No, learn to be productive. So that way you can avoid your burnouts. And with that being said, I'm going to end it right there. Be sure to kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables. And start to implant the seeds in them to take breaks. Like, I know we're getting older and we're actually becoming the elders talking and shit. I see why the elders saying the youth is wasted on the young. Stop. Don't implant that anymore. That whole, you know, you got to work twice as hard to have half as much. We got to break that mentality too. We got to break that reality too. It's really, really changing nowadays because a lot of us have become entrepreneurs. So we're going to be able to employ a lot of people. You feel what I'm saying? So the next generation of kids are going to be a lot different for the most part. But you feel me? We have to start implanting within our kids that it's okay not to burn out. Because when was the last time you seen a kid burn out? You haven't. You know why? Because they didn't say shit. I wonder if they knew they burnt out. You feel me? Yeah, kids know they burnt out. You know why? Because they cry out of frustration. You ever seen a kid try to tie a shoe and then they can't get it and then they break down and cry? You're like, yo, what are you crying for? Just know. They burnt out. They burnt out. They don't know how to do something. They are burnt out. So learn to spot these things early on so you can start to cater your child and build them up to not be burnt out. Because I'm creating entrepreneurs. Like, I want my kids to be entrepreneurs when I have them. But these are lessons that I'm going to have to teach them. I can't just teach them go hustle and grind. When I grew up, my entrepreneur journey, it kind of started hanging around drug dealers. They just grinded all fucking day. Sometimes, you know, they'll pull all-nighters. You feel me? Wouldn't sleep for 24, 48 hours. Feel me? Wear the same thing for 2-3 days and shit. And it's like, nigga, I'm hustling. Nah, you fucking burning yourself out. You need a bath. You need to eat, bro. Like, the fuck? Like, what's going on? You feel what I'm saying? And that's a part of coming up from, it has to start within childhood. You feel me? Start teaching your babies the how not to burn out. And you got to learn it first. Teaching them the difference between busy and productive, their priorities and what's important. Like, teach them these little nuggets if you expect them to be entrepreneurs when they turn 18, 15 years old. Because they're going to need these positions. They're going to need these things to actually set themselves up. You feel me? So keep that in mind and make sure you plant that seed within your kids. And it's not just this is for everything in life, school, all of these things that they're going to have to do. When they have to study, when they have to learn these things, you know, they're going to have to learn how to be productive, not just busy. Oh, come home, do your homework. Okay. Am I doing my homework with intent or just a goal to complete my homework so I can go outside? You feel what I'm saying? It's little subtle things like that that set the tone for bigger things. You feel me? It's almost a one-to-one, not on any funny shit, but the people that I know that struggle with being entrepreneurs that said they want to be them, when I talk about the childhood in school, they will be like, yeah, I did this assignment on a bus. They talk about assignments they did on a bus. They talk about how they did just enough to get a C in college and shit, just to pass and shit. C's get degrees, little shit like that. It's little subtle shit like that that won't make you an entrepreneur. And you're 20, 30, 40 years old and you've had this mentality all your life. You feel what I'm saying? Don't let your baby start off at their deficit and have to overcome it. And I'm calling it a deficit because I faced it too. We all face the shit. You feel what I'm saying? Doing just enough. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and then off the other side, overworking yourself for the accomplishment. Nah. You feel me? Don't allow them to be burnt out. And then teach them the difference between busy and productive and allow them to have these nuggets to pass on through life. So with that being said, be sure to follow me on Instagram, _just_scene_. Check me out at IamJustScene.com for all things Just Scene. Be sure to check your, like I said, kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables. And I'm going to see you guys on the next one. Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. I'm out.